Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today I got to do a bunch of weeding in the ditch garden, and I'm going to bring you along and show you what's growing so far. So far mostly it's the perennials, the older stuff in the back is growing, but there's a ton of little stuff growing in the front, and I'm afraid if I don't show you now, some of that might be gone by the next time I do a big update. So let's go get this weeded and I'll show you what's there. I'll just walk up this way a little bit. I'll show you all of these volunteer flowers as well. That's one. That's either a brown-eyed Susan or a black-eyed Susan. I'm gonna let that live this year, maybe next year, but eventually that's gonna have to come out of there. This whole area is purple lovegrass, and I want to fill in the blank spots with more purple lovegrass. This looks really cool in, I don't know, maybe a couple more weeks. Once this starts going to flower, it's just gorgeous. There is the hollyhocks, really gorgeous. I'm not going to go over there. Zinnia's right there. I weeded that already, and those are just starting to bloom. I'll show you that with the next big update. But like I said, I got to get in here and weed today and do it as quick as possible. But I would like to show you some of these nice little flowers that are popping up in the front there. This right here, there and there, that's the strawberry popcorn that I planted. And I actually have 5 or 6 little plant. Oh, actually, they're right around the corner here. What do I have? I have 5 growing there, and they're starting to get a little stressed out in those pots, so I'm going to plant those today, a little bit later. I'm going to put probably 3 here and a couple down there. There's another patch where I have strawberry popcorn growing down that way, which I will show you in just a minute. Got a lot of this in here, well, every year. This is smartweed. This could all be one plant. You can see it right here. If I don't get the smartweed out, the garden will be mostly smartweed next year. I'm waiting on this stuff. I really don't know what it is. It's not lamb's quarters, so I'm gonna let it go until it starts to flower. And if it looks like a weed then I'll yank it out. Got a bachelor button right there. I think the pink stuff in the front, I think that's all the baby snapdragons. Like this stuff right here. And that looks too big to be baby's breath. But I do believe we have baby's breath growing in here somewhere. Like that might be baby's breath back there. This stuff right here, it has a prickly stem and it looks like ragweed. Kind of, but I don't know if this is ragweed or not. I'm gonna have to get used to this flower mix again. This is the same mix we started with years ago, but I haven't planted it for the last couple years because I thought it had wild carrot in the mix, but it doesn't. It has actual Queen Anne's lace. People call wild carrot Queen Anne's lace, but it actually isn't. There's a difference between the two. One is an annual, and one is a perennial, and it's a noxious weed. Okay, I think this one, I believe this is ragweed. Right there. And that one right there, that I think is one of the wildflowers. I could be wrong, but I believe that's true. Here is the annual lupine. Not very showy compared to the perennial stuff. This one right here, no flowers yet, but that is a cool looking plant. It's like purple. This dainty little thing is a tree. Okay, here's some smartweed. Smartweed almost always has these spots on the leaves. And I saw something, yep, lamb's quarter. And again, this is that ragweed looking plant. And I'm really unsure of that. We'll have to watch it. Annual lupine again. And there's another one of them purpley ones. You can see the purple veins in the leaves on this one really well. That's a real interesting plant. This right here, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but based on the fuzzy leaves, it looks like it's a Indian blanket or gaillardia or something. But hopefully it's an annual version, because this is where all the annual seeds were planted. It could be a volunteer from seeds from back there though. If you don't get these lamb's quarters out, they'll get as big as a bush. They'll get really, really big, like some of this stuff. One right here, as big as a bush. But they can grow tall and skinny to get up to the light, but if they're in an open area, they'll grow nice and fat like a bush. My instinct is just to rip this right out, but I do believe this is a real Queen Anne's lace. The wild carrot has a black dot in the center, and they're a lot bigger than this, so I believe this is one of the good guys. Some big old sunflowers here, and this is all purple lovegrass again. Got some cosmos in there, not sure what that is. And we got black-eyed Susan and miscellaneous other stuff back here. Got some big blue stem there, big blue stem there. Well, here and there all through the back. I'm gonna come back through the back way here, so we'll just continue along the front here. This looks real cool in the back of the garden here, and this is just an onion. We planted onions here probably 3 years ago, and then it came back the next year. I just let it go, and now we have these cool onion flowers every year. This is a volunteer right here from last year with some grass growing right in back of it. I got to get in and weed this whole thing too. That right there, I think I plucked out the rest of them thinking they were weeds, but this is corn as well. Looks like something's been biting on it though. I don't even know what a lot of this is. I do know this is lamb's quarters though. But this one right here, not so much. First pigweed I ran into, and it's got a little flower. I don't think the seeds are ripe yet, but this stuff really has to go. I think I'll put this in the fire pit. On my way back, I'll collect that up and make sure it gets burned. Don't take many of those to fill your entire garden with pigweed. It's getting close to the point where all of these flowers are going to fill in completely, and then just every once in a while you got to get in there and pull out the occasional really tall grass, or like this, a lamb's quarters right in the middle of that one. But now it's not real likely anything is going to grow up from the middle of that. That is classic smartweed with the purple spots, but the purple spots can be much lighter than that as well. This right here is purple love grass, and all of that is 3-year-old side oats grandma. This is going to look really cool this year. And I believe the middle part of that is purple love grass as well. So what I got to do is finish up this little area, get into there, and then we're over into the semi-naturalized area, where there's just going to be a lot more weeds to start with, but I'll get the more egregious ones out of there. Alright, I got the entire front of this part of the garden weeded. I'm at the road here, and I'm not really sure how much I'm going to weed through here. We'll see. I'm going to go down to the dry lot down there and then come back on the other side. This is mostly naturalized. I come in here and spread the seeds every year, but I don't weed it as aggressively as those gardens. This is mostly prairie grasses, and every year I plant more towards this ditch right here, and eventually this will be like the other stuff here, where just the very edge of it is planted in annuals every year, and the rest is all prairie grasses. This is just beautiful in a couple weeks. Actually, I like it right now, but this gets better and better looking as the year goes on. This right here is the twilight zone that I planted this year, and these will get infested with weedy grasses as well, but it's really hard to see them. Like this right here, that is a weed. So is that. And so is that. And the rest of this is twilight zone. That is getting a really nice color to it. I can't wait to see this stuff in its second and third years when it can compete with this stuff. This little blue stem right here is 4 years old, and this is 2 years old, but it was just planted. So this stuff has a real advantage. This stuff will be just as big as this in a couple of years. Hopefully it doesn't get shaded out by this, but I don't think so. Got bottlebrush grass right here, and I really can't tell if this is probably Canada rye, but it's going to have to come out a little more before I'll be able to tell you. That one back there and that one right there, those are both Shenandoah. There's one right there that died. They're going to be replacing that in August. And I believe the one, that bigger one, is Little Blue Stem, but it looks awful big. It's got the right color for Little Blue Stem. Leaves aren't wide enough to be Big Blue Stem. That's Big Blue Stem right there. Could be Indian grass, but Indian grass really doesn't look like that. I'm going to say that's Little Blue Stem. But this is switchgrass, the Shenandoah. And then we have switchgrass over here as well, another colored variety, and that's hot rod. Yeah, look at that big blue stem. That is so cool looking. I believe that's another one right there, and another one up at the top over there. In this area, I basically let it grow wild, but if I can get at some like big grass like this that is definitely foxtail, I'll go yank it out. And if I see a big lamb's quarters or something like that and I can get to it without trampling the area, I'll get that out as well. The one thing I definitely absolutely need to get out is this pigweed. That is just going to flower like the other one. Here's another one right here. This is getting pretty well shaded out, so hopefully I won't have to do much more weeding. This is pigweed as well. Cannot stand this stuff. Red root pigweed or amaranth. So, like I said, some of the bigger grasses while I'm in here, and the pigweed. But I don't really go out of my way to get stuff in here. Big old lamb's quarter, another one. There's a bunch of them here. Let me get this stuff out. Look at the color on this little blue stem. That looks a lot like that Twilight Zone. Well, actually this looks more of a steely blue. That is so cool looking. That's Little Blue Stem right there too. Some of this stuff just has way more color than others. As you get down towards this far area here, the ground is a little less fertile. Well, it's a lot less fertile towards the road, and it's real thin. The rocks are right under the ground. This is actually the edge of the cliffside right here. It drops down, well, it drops way down on the other side here, but there's a bluff right over here, and the ground is just really thin right here. So as I get to this area, I kind of let it naturalize. These are native flowers. That's fleabane. I don't know what this stuff is called, but this is all over the place too. So I just let this native stuff grow. This right here, I believe this is Indian blanket, and this is a volunteer from seeds that wash down from the gardens up that way. There's actually volunteers all the way down and around and into the woods down there. Got some zinnias right there blooming amongst the grasses there. And we got this back here. Oh, that's a zinnia as well. Yeah, that's a zinnia. So is that there. The zinnias are just a little bit stunted here because of the soil, but still look pretty cool. Here's a tiny little cosmos. Those will get, the flower will get that big just right over there, and the plants will get 4 feet tall over there. And down here, got a little dwarf version. Normally I take this stuff out, but I let it grow this year. Probably should have took it out. This is native. I'm not sure what it's called, but it appears to be pretty invasive. This area right here is where I planted the sand drop seed, and this was doing really well the last time I looked, but it all looks dead now. This is supposed to be the most drought resistant of all of the prairie grasses. Well, this is one of them right here, and that's doing okay. That's one right there. So a couple of them are still doing okay. I guess I'll have to get down here and water. That's not sand drop seed right there. You can kind of see where I planted them. Maybe it went dormant, but I don't know. These look dead, or nearly dead. Yeah, I'll have to get down here and water this stuff. Damn. That's what happens when you plant in the summer. Even if you have a couple good rains and it gets watered in and gets started, if it doesn't have a good root system by the time it gets really hot, it may not make it. Yeah, this stuff is still alive. I need to get down here and get this watered. Got a rye here. The rye spreads really fast. I believe I only planted it at the far end and seeds made it down to here by birds or whatever. That's rye. These are all rye, and I absolutely didn't plant any down here. This kind of looks like red top. I'm gonna have to look this up and see if it is or not. If it is, I'm gonna let this stuff grow here. I didn't plant any red top here. I planted red top over on the road over there. It did not grow where I planted it, but it certainly may be over here. And if it is, I'm gonna let it go. These are all weed grasses. The Prairie Garden here, this takes the least maintenance out of anything. This gets so dense, and everything right now is 4 or 5 years old. Well, no, it's 3 or 4 years old for the most part, this whole top part. I planted this the first year of my YouTube channel. That was 3 years ago, so the vast majority of the little blue stem and big blue stem and Indian grass here, this is its 4th year. So you could see how dense that is. It takes a lot for a weed to grow down in there. The first couple years were a battle with the foxtail and the prickly lettuce and the other weeds in here, but most of that has no seed bank now and just doesn't grow in here. More of that red top. At least I believe it's red top. If it is red top, it's welcome to grow in here. If it's something else, I'll have to think about yanking it out. Like if it were to be bluegrass or something, which I don't think it is. I wouldn't want that going to seed in here. Yeah, very beautiful, and the grasses just get better and better towards the end of the year, all the way through the fall and even in the winter. This right here, this is all little blue stem, as is that. This is Indian grass, and that back there is big blue stem. That's big blue stem as well right there. I'm in the back here weeding, and I thought I would show you this. Sometimes I yank these out. This is a volunteer, and I believe it's either an Indian blanket or a black-eyed Susan. But this is a first year. This is from seed from last year. And this year, this will be a dainty little flower. It's actually going to be really nice. So I'll probably let this one go this year. I got a bunch here too, and they're really not hurting anything. So I think I'm going to let those go. This area right here is kind of open, so maybe those will fill it in a little bit. This grapevine has gone completely bananas in the last couple weeks. I pruned this not that long ago, but it certainly looks like I'm going to have to get in here and do it again. It goes way out to here. I need to get this pruned up so that I can get under it and get this whole area weeded out. Got a lot of this stuff going on. Lots of grass growing under there. Look at this vine though. Crazy. I'm not 100% sure what these are. They kind of look like a local weed, but we'll see. I'll let these grow for a while, and if they start looking weedy, I'll pluck them right out. We have another volunteer right there, and kind of a big one right there. But this one, you can tell that that's not that old, because I was taking the hose and bringing the hose right over the top of where that is just maybe 2.5 weeks ago or so, and that was not there. Yeah, this is from seed from last year, and it's kind of nice to have those. I almost pulled that out. That's Prairie drop seed making a comeback. This is a wildflower, even though it looks like a weed, and that is a volunteer. Another volunteer cosmos way back here, right under the blueberries. We'll let that grow, but this big patch has to go. It's probably just one plant. This is smartweed, and it looks like I plucked that out already, and it sent roots back into the ground. This right here is what this one looked like last year. Actually, I got this one on film last year. It was probably about that tall. I did the film in, probably mid-July. That's that Ditch Garden, the musical. I'll link to it above. That's a pretty good video. But I have this flower in there. You'll be able to spot it, and it was really tiny. So this is a first-year volunteer. This is a second-year volunteer, and that's a third-year volunteer. Really got to watch them, or they're going to take the place over. But they are kind of nice for a year or two. The purple coneflowers are just starting to bloom. There's purple coneflowers throughout this garden here, but I thinned them out big time last year. There was one right here, there was one right here. There was just way too many of them. I did a transplant of all of the stuff that was in the garden over there into this garden, and I probably transplanted 20 purple coneflowers, and they may look nice when they're small, but they get so giant and then they fall over, so you don't want too many of them. The butterflies really love these. Okay, done for the day and nearly done for the season. I'll have to weed in that back part the rest of the year, but in the ditch garden itself here, at some point it gets so dense that there's no way I can get in there. I can reach over the top and pull a seed head off, like if I find a wild carrot or something, I could pull the flowers off or something like that. Sometimes a little bit of grass at the edge. But real soon I will not be able to get deep into this garden and do any weeding, which is nice. I'm kind of tired of weeding for this year anyways. Couple pigweed right there. I'll get them on the way back. But for now, I'm gonna have to sign off. Oh, before I forget, I did the paneling in the breezeway project today as well. I did that earlier and then got out of the heat for a while and came back to do this as the sun got a little further down. Yeah, you could see there's a bunch more weeding that needs to be done, but like I said, pretty soon I won't be able to. These gardens should be in full bloom, I would say, in about a week. Hopefully it's a little earlier than that, but that's about what it's looking like. It would be nice if this was all flowering for Natalie's graduation party, but it really doesn't look like it. There should be a lot more than there is now, but it doesn't look like the whole thing's going to be in like full bloom by then. But It will be soon. And if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.